Not only, however, the vices of the soul are voluntary, but in some persons also the vices of the body, which likewise we reprehended. For no one reprehends those who are naturally deformed, but we blame those who are so through the want of exercise, and from negligence. The like also takes place in imbecility and mutilation. For no one would reproach a man who is blind from nature, or disease, or a blow, but would rather pity him. But every one would reprove him who is blind from drinking wine to excess, or from any other species of intemperance. Of the vices, therefore, pertaining to the body, those indeed that are in our power are blamed, but those which are not reprehended. But if this be the case, in other things also the vices which are reprehended will be in our power. If, however, some one should say that all men aspire after apparent good, but that we have no authority over the phantasy, and that such as every one is, such also does the end appear to him to be; if, indeed, every one is to himself in a certain respect the cause of habit, he will also be in a certain respect the cause to himself of the phantasy, i.e. of the conception which he forms of a thing in his imagination. But if no one is the cause to himself of bad conduct, but he acts evilly from an ignorance of the end, fancying that by so acting he shall obtain the greatest good, and if the desire of the end is not spontaneous, but it is requisite that every one should be born endued as it were with sight, by which he may judge rightly, and may choose real good, and if, also, he is naturally of a good disposition, in whom this is well implanted by nature, for that which is greatest and most beautiful, and which can neither be obtained nor learned from another person, but which such as a man is naturally, such he possesses, and to be naturally inclined to this well and beautifully, will be a perfect and true natural goodness of disposition. If these things are true, why will virtue more than vice be voluntary? For the end appears, and is similarly posited both to the good and the bad man, either by nature or in some other way. But referring other things to this, they act in any manner whatever. Whether, therefore, the end, whatever it may be, is not apparent to every one from nature, but there is also something with him who acts, or whether the end is natural, yet because a worthy man performs other things voluntarily, and therefore virtue is voluntary, vice also will be no less voluntary. For in a bad as well as in a good man, there is similarly a power of acting from himself in what he does, though the intention of the end is not in our power. If, therefore, as we have said, the virtues are voluntary, for we ourselves in a certain respect are the concauses of habits, and in consequence of being disposed in a certain way, we propose to ourselves a certain end. If this be the case, the vices also will be voluntary, for a similar reason. We have, therefore, spoken in common concerning the virtues, have adumbrated the genus of them, and have shown that they are media and habits. We have likewise unfolded what the things are from which they are produced, and have shown that they are caused by energies, and are the principles of energies, similar to those by which they are generated. That they are likewise in our power, and are voluntary things, and this in such a way as right reason shall ordain. Actions, however, and habits are not similarly voluntary. For of actions we are the lords from the beginning to the end, since we have a knowledge of particulars, but of habits we are only lords of the principle. The accession, however, of particulars is not known as it is in diseases, but because it is in our power thus to use, or not to use particulars, on this account our habits are voluntary. Resuming, therefore, the discussion of each of the virtues, let us show what they are, what the quality of the things is with which they are conversant, and how they subsist. But at the same time it will be manifest how many there are. And in the first place, let us consider fortitude. CHAPTER 6. That fortitude, therefore, is indeed a medium which is conversant with fear and audacity, has been already observed by us. But we evidently fear things of a terrible nature, and these are, in short, evils. Hence, also, fear is defined to be the expectation of evil. We fear, therefore, all things that are evil, such as infamy, poverty, disease, the want of friends, and death. The brave man, however, does not appear to be conversant with all evils. For it is necessary and beautiful to be afraid of some things, and not to be afraid of them is base ; as, for instance, not to be afraid of infamy. For he who is afraid of this is a worthy and modest man ; but he who is not afraid of it is impudent. He is, however, metaphorically called by some a brave man ; for he has something similar to the brave man, since the brave man also is fearless. But perhaps it is not proper to fear poverty or disease, or, in short, such things as neither proceed from vice, nor from ourselves. Yet neither is he who is fearless with respect to these a brave man. We denominate him, however, brave from similitude ; for some men who in the dangers of war are timid, are liberal, and possess a proper confidence in the loss of money. Neither, therefore, is he timid who dreads insolent conduct towards his children and wife, or envy, or any thing of the like kind ; nor is he a brave man if he is confident when he is about to be whipped. With what kind of dreadful things, therefore, is the brave man conversant ? Shall we say with such as are the greatest ? For no one endures dreadful things better. But death is the most dreadful of things ; for it is the end of life. And nothing farther appears to remain for him who is dead, either good or bad. But neither does the brave man appear to be conversant with every kind of death ; as, for instance, death in the sea, or from disease. With what kinds of death, therefore, is he conversant ? Shall we not say with those that are most beautiful ? But these are the deaths which happen in war ; for such a death is attended with the greatest and most beautiful danger. And the truth of this is confirmed by the honours which cities and monarchs confer on those who conduct themselves bravely in war. He, therefore, may properly be called a brave man who is intrepid with respect to a beautiful death, and such things as are the causes of death when they are near. But things of this kind are especially such as happen in war. Nevertheless, in the sea, and in diseases, the brave man is intrepid, yet not in the same manner as sailors are. For brave men, when they despair of their safety, indignantly bear a death of this kind ; but sailors have good hope of escaping from their experience. At the same time, brave men act with fortitude in those things in which strength of mind is requisite, or it is beautiful to die ; but neither of these exists in such like destructions as we have mentioned. CHAPTER 7. The same thing, however, is not terrible to all men. But we say that there is also something which is above man. This, therefore, is indeed terrible to every one endued with intellect. But the terrible things which do not exceed the endurance of human nature differ in magnitude, and in the more and the less. And the like takes place in things pertaining to confidence. The brave man, however, is unterrified as a man. He will therefore, indeed, dread things of this kind, yet in such a manner as is proper and as reason prescribes, for the sake of the beautiful in conduct ; for this is the end of virtue. But it is possible to be terrified at these in a greater and less degree. And it is also possible to dread things which are not dreadful, as if they were so. Of the errors, however, in the endurance of things terrible, one consists in dreading what it is not proper to dread ; another in dreading not as is proper ; but another in not dreading when it is proper, or something of this kind. And in a similar manner in what pertains to confidence. He, therefore, who endures and fears things which it is requisite to endure and fear, and for the sake of that for which it is requisite, and in such a way as and when it is requisite, and in a similar manner, he who thus confides is a brave man. For the brave man suffers and acts according to the importance of the thing, and conformably to reason. But the end of every energy is the end according to habit, i.e. the beautiful in conduct. And to the brave man fortitude is beautiful. The end also is a thing of this kind ; for every thing is defined by the end. For the sake of the beautiful in conduct, therefore, the brave man endures and performs all that pertains to fortitude. Of the characters, however, which exceed, he indeed who exceeds in fearlessness is anonymous. But it has been before observed by us, that many